I should say so, not half. February. How did that happen? What the hell happened to January? 1 minute it's Christmas, January's gone. I don't know where the hell that's gone, and now it's February, which is okay. Which is okay. It's all right. I don't know how that happened. How did dry January? I lasted until about 5 o'clock, January the 1st. Of that. Life's way too short. Ladies and gentlemen, he's checking his phone or he's swiping right. I don't know which it is. By the way, I'm Russ Kane. This is The Daily Show. Welcome to Men's Radio Station, broadcasting all over the world on every single platform you could possibly imagine. He is the king of New Sometimes my stupidity kills me. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Long.
You sounded like Muttley then.
I know. That is actually how I like it. A lot of people say that you sound like the cartoon. Do you believe that?
But if I was swiping right, as the song says, you got to swipe to the right to party.
Nearer the time, we'll be plugging your parties that you do now. Although how much bloody Tupperware anybody needs, I don't know. Now, do you believe that laughter is the best medicine? Do you believe laughter is the best medicine?
I think laughter and music are two of the most profound healing tools the human race has.
Yeah, well, yesterday I was invited. I did 13,000 steps yesterday. Can you believe it? And really? Julie Voice is saying, "Good morning, y'all. I did January. Much more fun. Bloody right. Well done, Julie Voice."
Morning, Julie. If you DM me your address, I'll send you one of those key rings that you wanted.
Can't believe he's got a side hustle going on here. Bloody side hustle. Before our first guest, just want to say something that I was invited by a dear friend to go to the theatre, written by the team behind Sherlock, which I love, and Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss. It was called The Unfriend. I'm still laughing this morning. I can't remember the last time I saw. I can't remember the last time I saw something so hilarious. If you love a good laugh and you want a really, really excellent theatre experience, it's at the Criterion, which is right on Piccadilly Circus itself. I've got no vested interest. I'm not plugging it because they're asking me to. Yeah, I think you'll really enjoy it. I think our gang would enjoy it, Neil. It's just so fun. It's called The Unfriend. If you can get a ticket, go. Right, enough of that. Time for guest numero uno. You see, I'm multilingual. I don't care today.
We just have the one guest today. Our other one had to pull out at the last minute. But
I was told there was another guest. But here we go. Let's dash across to New York. Cold touch of snow. Temperatures going down. Back in Manhattan. Good morning. You're in that like a fiddler's elbow. Hi, Elizabeth Green. And let's go to Luke Newman. Morning, gents. You read this.
Oh, well, exciting times For Men to Talk. We're growing up and down the country with new volunteer facilities. News like that is never.
All right. Now, this new fellow, I got to warn you, I had a brief chat with him pre-show. He's already annoyed me.
Why?
Because he's too good looking. He's too bloody handsome.
Well, I have that problem all the time, Russ. You should be used to it by now.
Over the many years that I've known you, somehow your incredible good looks, I've got used to. I have managed to handle it. But this guy's pissing me off straight away. Ladies and gentlemen,
I have to say, I'm not going to be personal straight away, Ryan, but I've looked at your website and I like your stuff already, and I think this is going to be a great conversation. Welcome to Men's Radio.
Thank you very much, Neil. Happy swiping. Hi, Russ.
I'm hoping it's rubbish because that'll make me feel better about myself, and that's what it's all about. Ryan, tell us about yourself.
Thanks very much. I think the most useful thing that I could do would be to let you know where I'm coming from.
Yep.
And why I'm talking about what I'm talking about today.
Okay.
About 4 years ago actually now, I bumped into a lady who I hadn't seen in years, and I was really excited to hear the latest about her son. Because her son, Brad, he was about my age, but he was taller than me, more muscular. Some would say, Russ wouldn't believe this, but some would say he was slightly better looking than me.
You're in the realms of fantasy now, boy.
I know.
Ridiculous.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
And this guy, he had the fast car, he had the great job, the big house, beautiful wife, 2 kids, and he had everything that I wanted. I was on the same trajectory as him at the time. I thought about a few years behind. And then I said to his mum, Jenny, how are you and how's Brad? And she said, how's Brad? You don't know.
Oh, God.
Brad killed himself 6 months ago.
Oh, good God.
Shit.
Now, was a bit like you guys. Mine actually was really dumb because Jenny told me, and I remember these words actually came out of my mouth. I said, no, your son Brad, how's he doing?
Oh God, you doubled down.
I doubled down because it didn't occur to me that at the time I thought, number one, when men are successful, they will be happy. And number two, I thought we always hear messages all the time that men just need to talk more. And I thought, this guy, Brad, brilliant talker, very articulate, reached out for help, went through all the correct channels, spoke to the GP, went to therapist, took antidepressants, and had nightly calls with his mum who lectures him.
No.
So he did everything we're telling men to do at the moment.
Right.
And
Ryan, the problem is with that. Oh God, I was really hoping that you were going to say he didn't do any of those things, because this is what we hear from all our guests. And to be told that he went through everything that we hope and we talk about constantly on the Daily Show Men's Radio Station. Wow, crap.
And this is almost the whole point of Men's Radio Station, because there is a massive gap in what people think men need and what they actually need. And I'm looking at your website. I'm guessing this was born out of that awful tragedy where you were searching for a new paradigm, for something that actually worked. And it seems like you're a pretty long way down that road. So I would just love the rest of this hour to hear about what that is, because people are crying out for this.
Okay. Oh, that's amazing. So Jenny turned around to me and she said, look, Ryan, you need to know because you're a guy. And she said, I'm sure you and your listeners know, in the next 5 hours, 4 people will take their own lives and 3 of them will be men.
Yep.
And I thought, wow, I need to know more about this. That suicide is the #1 killer of men from the age of 18 to the age of 45.
Yeah.
So that was June 2019 that I got that news. And I decided to set aside one day every week to learn everything I could about men's
That's extraordinary.
health and life expectancy.
Can I just point out one thing?
Yeah.
Most people go on, I mean, all we ever hear about and all you see on TV is, cancer all the time. And trust me, it's affected my family very badly. So don't start saying it. I'm not belittling it. But people just don't seem to register the fact, which was the spark, which made me want to start this with my partner, Howard Jameson, that that suicide is the biggest cause of death in men between 18 and 45 in the United Kingdom.
Big.
Let that resonate for a second. Let it resonate for a second. It's not cancer.
I wonder where that compares to cancer if we put the statistics side by side.
Well, it ain't going to be good. And of course, there's so many different types of cancer. You don't know. But
the fact that it's killing more people than cancer, to me, and like you, Russ, I'm not belittling cancer in any way. We all know people who've been affected by it.
Absolutely.
That goes without saying. But if this is a lot more,
that's
or
why
even a little bit more,
people
you need to wake up and why.
I don't understand, Ryan, why that statistic, let me get back to your story, but that statistic seems to bounce off people like it's, oh yeah, fine. Oh, okay. Think about it. I mean, all we hear is don't smoke, don't drink, don't do this. Fine. Well, try not to end your own life. That would also be a pretty good message. Right, back to you, fella.
That's okay. The way that I phrase it when I'm doing talks on this, Russ and Neil, is I just say, picture a big red double-decker bus with men sitting on every seat.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine that bus hurtling over a cliff. That's how many men we lose to suicide in the UK and Ireland every 5 days.
Jesus. Wow. Do you know what? On all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of guests we've had, probably in the thousands now, no one's ever said that. And how incredibly impactful is that image? And horrible.
It's gonna get. So I'm starting with the dark stuff, but it's about to get.
No. But it is dark. We don't shy away from that. We don't shy away from the dark stuff. Anyway, off you go. One day a week. You said I'm going to do 1 day a week.
Yep.
Okay.
And I didn't have a background in mental health, so obviously important for everyone to know. I had no background in mental health, no background in medical interventions at all. So I just had to start from the ground up. First thing I did was look at life expectancy in men.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading a study about 1 week in, and it's by an American doctor, and she said, this will be useful for your listeners as well.
Yeah.
There's 1 day every year where a man's chances of having a heart attack jump up by 25%.
Oh, blimey.
Do you know what day that is?
I dread to think.
Monday.
It is a Monday.
I'm cool with Monday. I hate Sundays. You see, I hate Sundays. I know, counterintuitive. I look forward to Monday. I'm back on air. I got meetings. I'm happy. You know, Sundays, Christ, dread them.
It's because you're doing what you love.
Well, there you go. But I do what I love. Yeah, that's really true. I'm passionate about it, and I love it. So
So
a
for
the average
Monday,
working person,
a Monday,
understand
is
that.
it the stress of going back to work, Ryan? Is that? I think that's what Neil was about to ask. Sorry,
It's a particular Monday.
Well, they call it Blue Monday.
Is it the
but I
one that
don't
we call
get
Blue
it.
Monday?
Nope.
No.
It's
Yeah.
if Christmas Day comes on a Monday and you've forgotten to get your wife a present.
Yeah, you'd
Because you
think
just
so.
hope you're going to get a heart attack and drop dead. It'd be easier.
Yeah.
That's a bit different. But
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it's... Well, come on. Stop teasing us. What day is it then?
It's the Monday after the clocks jump forward an hour.
Is it?
no way.
Why?
So I wondered that too.
Is it the stress of going to every bloody clock in your house and then you forget to change the clock in your car?
It can't
And
be
that
because
drives
you lose
mad.
an hour's sleep. It can't be that, can it?
Can't be that.
It's exactly because you lose an hour's sleep. So what happens in a man's body when you miss 1 hour's sleep is your testosterone goes down for a
Mhm.
number of days.
Oh,
And in a man's body, as testosterone goes down, cortisol goes up. The two always balance each other out in a man's body. And that decrease in testosterone leads to that rise in cortisol, which triggers men's heart attacks on that particular day. So after that, I decided, right, next week when I come back to this, I'm going to be reading everything I can about testosterone because I was born in 1990, grew up in the 90s.
oh, shut up. Bye,
I-
Ryan. See ya. Bloody cheat. Born in 1990. He can sod right. Oh, he's back. 1990. Mate, I got milk in my... I got milk in my fridge from 1990.
I wonder what the price of milk was then. So I decided next week's all about testosterone because I've never heard anything good. I had never heard anything good about testosterone.
Hmm.
In fact, I remember when I was a kid and when there was a fight in a local pub, I'd always hear my mum's friends say, well, it's
Something like what, a wall of testosterone or something.
Yeah, they'd say,
And I heard that too, and it took me reading books by a really enlightened teacher, John Gray. He did the Mars and Venus book, so his whole thrust of work is about, you know, men and women and the neurobiology and the gender differences. The man is brilliant, and it's not a lack of testosterone that causes men to no, it's not an excess of testosterone that causes men to do that. It's a lack, and that was a new understanding for me as well.
Again,
So, yeah,
counterintuitive from what we've been brought up to believe.
it's a lack of testosterone, and men need 20 times more than women.
Dave Sleet, who's up in Fife in Scotland, coming down to London, so hopefully I'm going to be seeing him next week. You'd love him, Neil. He's such an amazing man. Dave Sleet, the human condition is physical, emotional, and psychological, body, heart, and mind. Unless we nurture all three parts, we will always be out of balance. And I'm going
But
to.
you're talking about the neurochemicals that link them all, so that's why it's really interesting.
And-
I'll just read this comment, then we come back
please
to you.
do.
Mental health services in this country, where and if they exist, are woefully underfunded and under-resourced. Absolutely. If you think waiting lists for hospital appointments for physical illnesses are long, try and get an appointment for a mental health issue. We had a guy on only Monday who him and his partner set up a charity because of this very issue. As for young people's services, well, there's virtually nothing. When I offered counselling in schools, Monday was always the busiest day.
Interesting stuff.
Kind of ties in, doesn't it? So testosterone, so the neurobiology.
So I was reading about testosterone and I got that and I decided next week it's all about testosterone. One of the first studies I found just mentioned as a side note that when they were analysing interventions for depressed men, they noticed that depressed men have 30% less testosterone than the average man.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the
Interesting.
way that was interesting to me, I was learning furiously all the statistics to do with life expectancy for men. So the biggest killer of men from the age of 18 to 45 in the UK and Ireland is suicide. Suicide, according to everyone, including the World Health Organization, is one of the main causes is depression. And depression in men is linked to low testosterone. That's a fact.
Definitely.
Then the biggest killer of men from 45 to 60 is heart disease. Heart disease is linked to heart attack. And I just read that study saying that heart attack is linked to low testosterone in men. And in fact, all heart disease is also strongly linked to low testosterone in men.
Wow.
So then I wondered, well, what happens after the age of 60? The biggest killer of men after the age of 60 until sort of their mid-70s is cancer. The most likely cancer a man will get is prostate cancer.
Yep.
And what's the single biggest predictor that a man will develop prostate cancer?
Low testosterone?
Low testosterone. In fact, studies have said that men who have low testosterone, it's called hypogonadal men. Men who have low testosterone are 2.5 times more likely to get prostate cancer. So some studies have said, actually, rather than screening for prostate cancer, a good place to start is just taking testosterone levels, because that lets you know where you should look and who should be screened.
So, to jump in there, because I had a guest and I did a pre-record, which we haven't aired yet, and this guy was going on. It's weird that you've jogged my memory here, Ryan, that is saying you should go and have testosterone injections.
Oh, why?
I think you and I are going to agree on this, Ryan. I don't think that's a good idea, and I'll happily share an opinion. Do you want to go
please,
first?
No, do. I'm listening. I'm listening to you both.
Okay, and Ryan, you're better educated on this than me, so if I'm wrong, tell me. Again, it comes back to the work of John Gray, because testosterone is made in the testes. That's where it's supposed to be made, right?
Yep.
If you inject it, then your body thinks, if you inject it, your body doesn't make it anymore. So it essentially kicks the can down the road for 2 or 3 years until we get used to the drug, the false testosterone, and then our bodies won't make it anymore. It's much healthier to do it either by diet or lifestyle change. Injection is a quick fix. It's a quick fix that only lasts so long. Yes, it'll work for about 3 years, but our bodies get used to the drug and then they don't make it anymore, which is not what we want, right?
I'm in your camp, Neil, and I wouldn't even describe it as a quick fix. It's quick, but it's not actually a fix.
In what way? It's really interesting. You know what? I should try and get the guy back with both of you, because I think he'd be biting the scenery at the moment, because this was the whole thrust of our interview, which was quite I have to find it and to play it out one day, is that, you know, that's where it's all going wrong. He has this clinic. People should be coming to the clinic to get the testosterone, you know, injected.
I don't doubt the clinic does amazing work and that he knows stuff, but I'm talking about testosterone from a mental health perspective. And it's pretty clear from the science that I've read and collected that it's the process of generating testosterone that's really beneficial. Now, from a mental health perspective, there are some categories of men who become depressed that do benefit from having testosterone injected, but we're talking pockets of men who don't generate enough of it themselves, or men who have HIV, which leads to depression as well.
Right. Sure.
But for the majority of the population, what I'm talking about is not injecting testosterone, because testosterone is so responsive to your lifestyle, the environment, to challenge. And if you know how to manage it, there's no need, if you're a healthy man who produces it, to get it injected.
Okay.
I once read something fascinating, and it was all, again, from the same or similar authors, and there was behaviors which men can partake in, which will naturally generate testosterone. Think of the American police at their best, protect and serve.
Yeah,
that kind of thing will generate testosterone in a man. Being a man, that doesn't mean fighting. It just means, and again, I'm not in any way saying men or women are better or worse than each other. That's not what I'm saying, and I never will. But different, yes. And we do need to understand those differences for the mutual well-being of all. and of understanding of
So
each
I
other.
need to strap on
opinion.
a Glock
Oxytocin is as
9.
important to a woman as testosterone is to a man.
So I need to put a Glock 9 and, and do ramming and drive people off, when in car chases. No?
I feel like
I was
Russ,
just hoping you'd say yes, to be honest with you.
Russ, I feel like you're putting a different spin on it.
Well, I kind of like that. I kind of like that spin. I like packing a Glock 9. That probably suit me down to the ground. So what you're
the
saying?
solution.
Okay, cool. So this was a long time ago, and at the beginning of sort of my studies, I was left with this hypothesis, which I was really interested in testing, learning about, which is, given that depressed men have low testosterone, I wondered if a man was to do the things that lead to a healthy production of testosterone, would he cease to be depressed?
Good hypothesis.
Cool. Yeah, I've tested it. We'll talk about that. Now, I didn't just stop there, though, because I found that knowing how to manage testosterone is one of 5 dimensions of men's health. I'd never really heard of any of them. But by the end of my 6 months of study, I decided there's 5 dimensions of men's health. Men have to balance them all. And I'm going to start living by it. So I did all this for selfish reasons. I wasn't thinking, I'm going to change the world or anything. I just thought, I'm just going to do something for Ryan.
What are these dimensions in a single word each? I'll put it on the screen.
You're welcome to. Do you want me to do the single word each, or do you want me to tap into?
No, explain. Explain.
We'll put the single words up on the screen, and then you can put some meat on the bones. What are the single words?
Okay, cool. So I wanted an acronym so that it's easy for men to remember. It had to be memorable and manly. The acronym I chose was ALPHA, ALPHA. The A in alpha stands for achieving recognition.
Can I interrupt you? I am so sorry, and I wouldn't normally do this.
Yeah.
But I can see that David Wimble, who's the CEO of Deluxe Radio, is saying, "Good afternoon, gents. Greeting from Maidstone Studios." But I've also had a note from producer Ken that we're not on Deluxe Radio, Mr. Wimble. There we go. Just right. Alpha. Off you go.
A is achieving recognition. For the majority of history, only a tiny number of men who lived ever had any children.
What?
In fact, so we know from gene records that about 8,000 years ago, for every one man that became a dad, 17 women became mums.
Well, that was a very busy bloke.
Yeah. And when you have those kind of situations, that really intense competition, it creates what's called a bottleneck in evolution. And then whatever favors passing on your genes becomes amplified. So a couple of really key things that come out of knowing about that is, as men's social status goes up, their body generates more of a hormone called serotonin. In fact, one of the biggest differences between a man and a woman's brain, Neil was saying earlier, the biggest difference is how they both react differently to the same hormone, different endocrine systems.
Okay.
One of the biggest differences after that is that men produce serotonin 52% faster than women do.
Or not, as the case may be. And a lot of causes of depression is not because, oh, woe is me, doesn't life suck? It's because you're actually not producing naturally serotonin. So
I often wondered what was the cause and what was the effect. I never knew if we got depressed because our serotonin was low, or our serotonin was low because we got depressed. But I think we're going some way to answer that.
Kind of the bottom line. The bottom line is that the serotonin levels get low. So it's almost, without delving into why, it just happens. So that there are drugs available which can boost your serotonin. Not so you're walking around like, Chuckles the clown, but that you don't feel that depression. And it's
serotonin is a general just sense of well-being, or help is on the way. I have what I need. What I need is coming to me. Therefore, all is well. Chill out. Don't worry. That is how I would describe serotonin.
It's a kind of sense of, I'm going to say, Ryan, contentment, really, which is most people. I think that's the most underused word in the world, is being content.
And it is important for men to achieve. And I don't mean, and I think it's all been with the guy in the paper at the moment. I won't give him the airtime, but it's all been so bastardized that we think being an alpha male is like him, and we all know who we're talking about. And it's not. It is not about that. It's much more nuanced than that. So that's the
it's not
achievement,
nuanced.
and you don't.
It's not nuanced when you're 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and you look at that and you think, oh, that's how life is. Well,
Yeah.
kids, it ain't.
Not at all.
And
But
you're being led down a cul-de-sac by an idiot.
Quite.
But there you go.
Quite. It is possible to achieve and to have that personal success and achievement without becoming an egomaniac, without becoming a narcissist. This is the healthy side of it. And it's really good to acknowledge there is a healthy side to this, because the word achievement's got a bit of a bad rap thanks to some things online. So achievement's the first one. Do you want to say more on that, or should we go to the second one?
So achieving recognition, I've got to delve a bit more. I've got to slightly dig a little bit more here, Mr. Ryan Park.
Go for it.
Is if achieving recognition in what? In terms of, I got kids and I'm happy, or I've got a fabulous house and I'm happy, or I'm a big shot in the city. I mean, what is your definition of achievement and recognition? What are you seeing it as?
It's getting recognition that's meaningful to you.
So it means something different. It would mean something different from the three of us, for a start.
Yes, absolutely. And the problem is, because we are wired to get serotonin faster as men, it's quite well known that the faster something reacts in your brain, the more addictive it is. And because our ancestors, the only reason why they were able to pass on their genes is because they doubled down on it. They achieved the recognition of their tribe. They managed to pass on their gene. So it's actually hard baked into men that we must achieve recognition. And so we put all our eggs in that basket. Our factory setting, too often, too many men, is if I can just achieve the recognition of everyone, later on, when I'm rich and I've got the Ferrari, then I can buy back my health. Then I can treat my wife well. Then I can get friends. Then I.
But and that might have been true in terms of evolutionary psychology, but it's kind of evolved. Parts of us have evolved and parts of us haven't. And now that simply doesn't work anymore. We need a new paradigm, because I personally wouldn't feel achievement by having, let's say, loads more kids. I've got one, I cherish her, and I love the relationship I have with her. But having 20 more wouldn't make me any happier.
Yep. And because of this reaction that happens with serotonin, it's really quite normal for us to put way too much stock in what is our job title, how much money are we earning, how many bedrooms does our house have, that kind of thing. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying there are 4 other things that you need to balance, and achieving recognition.
I got to tell you, Ryan, and don't be offended. A PR guy phoned me yesterday. He wanted his client on, and he does me a lot of favors, so I was doing him a favor. Somebody may turn up, they may not, but you're not going anywhere. And even if he does turn up, you're staying. So, right, that's number 1. What's number 2?
If he turns up, we'll get him in on the action.
He'll be going, well, I didn't come on to speak about this.
Yeah.
Why am I talking about this?
The next thing in Alpha, the next dimension of men's mental health is the L stands for looking after body and mind.
Oh, yeah. I buy into that totally.
So we've established that men's mental health and physical health and life expectancy is tied to testosterone levels. Okay. So I wanted to know, what are the key ingredients for a healthy level of testosterone? Do you know what they are?
No.
I didn't.
God, I thought I was back at school for a second in science lab.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sorry, Mr. Rad, frankly, this is something we can't be reminded of enough, Ryan. So I know I should know this, but knowing something and actually doing it is very different in Neil's world.
Don't stress. So, key elements for a healthy level of testosterone. First thing is sleep.
Uh-oh.
You remember in that heart attack study, as the men missed 1 hour
I'm
sleep,
screwed.
testosterone went. So, if you want to know, once a man hits 30, his testosterone goes down X every year. We'll just call it X now.
Okay.
Missing 1 hour's sleep temporarily lowers a man's testosterone by 12x, 12 years of aging temporarily.
I am dead in the water, man.
So if you missed 1 hour's sleep last night, take your age, add 12. That's your testosterone age today.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, I don't think I'm going to make it through to the end of the show.
Sorry, Russ.
Carry on, Neil. Don't worry about me, mate. I'm a terrible sleeper. I'm a terrible sleeper. I go for weeks not going to bed until 3 or 4 in the morning and then getting up.
There's a real problem with this, right? Because if you Google symptoms of low testosterone, one of the main ones is poor quality of sleep and not feeling tired. So there's a vicious cycle. Interestingly enough, if you Google symptoms of low testosterone and then Google symptoms of depression, then try and work out which one's which. Anyway, let's leave that for a minute. So sleep.
I'm not planning to make it to the afternoon now. Go on.
Ryan, I'm putting this on the screen as we go. If I get anything wrong, do call me out on it and I'll correct it straight away.
Yeah, cool. No worries. I'm not very good at multitasking, though. I'll focus on the talking and I'll do a bit of skim reading.
There is another guest. Okay, just hang on a second, right? I'll bring the other guest on in a second. You're going to come back, Mr. Ryan Park. I mean, you're staying today, but I'd like you back again with Neil and myself.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because there's so much to dice and slice.
There's a lot to talk about.
All right, let me bring on. Neil's going to pronounce this name. Come on, Neil. Show us your capital radio training.
Flamenco.
Oh, desperate. Oleg, how are you?
Hey, that was well done. Thank you, Neil.
Yeah.
Was it Oleg or Oleg?
Happy now. He'll be happy now.
Oleg.
Thank you.
Oleg, how are you? And tell us about yourself. And I was told very briefly, I was about to go into a meeting, I had a very hurried phone call, so I am not really up to speed. In fact, I'm busking it.
Fantastic. That makes 2 of us.
Okay. All right.
What is this? What is this joint? I'm co-founder of Sweatcoin. And
co-founder of what?
Sweatcoin.
Yes, this is why I wanted it. I tell you why I wanted it. I tell you why I wanted Oleg on. Right.
Thank you. You're saying because
Fitbit,
I didn't know where I was going with that.
Yeah, because I got a head like a sieve. Right. So, Mr. Fitbit, yesterday, because it was a stupid day, I was in and out of town like a fiddler's elbow and running around. A dog. Anyway, it doesn't matter. 13,000 steps. So, your PR guy said to me, "I tell you what, how would you like to get paid to go walking?" I went, "I'm in." Right.
Yeah.
I'm in. So, Oleg, tell us, Sweatcoin.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
Sweatcoin. It's all about exercise, Ryan. See?
Yes, exactly.
Up here for thinking, down there for dancing. All right, okay.
So we were,
going on a walk around your house, or what are we doing here?
No. I'm actually in the office, believe it or not. It's after years and years of working from home. I'm actually
in an
face
office,
to face working with real people. I can touch them.
How is that working out? Looks like you're in a big sweet wrapper. Looks like you've got opened a box of Quality Street. You've got a big Quality Street thing.
It is like a semi-transparent phone booth with a soundproofing. It's a semi-transparent phone booth.
I don't know. I think we've gone into a parallel universe. I've no idea. Right, Oleg, tell us about Sweatcoin.
Sweatcoin. Sweatcoin is, we started in 2015 to make the world more physically active. Personal problem, went for a run, couldn't even complete 5K, started wondering what the hell has happened. Why did I lose my fitness? And realized that, nature doesn't want me to be active. And it turns out that it works exactly the same way for everybody. Nature built us to survive, not to be active, which means that we have to save calories. So rather than sort of being fit, we just sit between meals. And we continue doing it, and calories are in abundance, which means that we're just gaining weight. And the real kind of adversary in our journey to become more physically active is nature, because nature doesn't want you to be active. Nature wants you to survive. So we kind of figured out, that gives a really interesting opportunity. And we've developed technology, Sweatcoin, which effectively tracks and verifies your movement and pays you to be active. We launched it, and the rest is history. We now have more than 120 million users all around the world.
Oh, sorry.
And very important.
Whoa, stop. 120 million users. Okay. Yeah. Ryan's impressed. Neil's catatonic. I'm impressed. Blimey. Okay.
Yes. So, if you were to install our app, you'd be in a very good company. Do it today. Yeah. So, and kind of, it's always been a sort of joke when people sort of hear about us. They're like, "Oh, isn't it a charity?" No, it's not a charity. It's actually a business, and a profitable business also. And we pay you to walk. How is that possible? And the answer is very simple. We all know that physical activity has value, and kind of we intuitively nod, but actually there is huge amount of wealth that is created by making people more physically active. You save on healthcare, you make people more productive, they live longer, they feel better, mental health, yada yada.
Really everything that Ryan was saying in the first half hour of the show. That was one of the main platforms that you were saying, right, Ryan, is that being physical and being fit really helps.
So that's basically what kind of what we've done.
So Oleg, walk me through, and everybody else, walk me through the mechanics. What do you do? Because I haven't a clue. Because I looked it up because I wasn't given anything.
You pick up your phone.
Right. Okay.
You open your App Store and Google Play.
Okay.
You go into search. No. This is Sweat Wallet. This is more advanced stuff. Let's let's talk about what 120 million people have. Just type in Sweat.
Scary.
And
by
the
way,
first app.
Oleg, you're quite scary. By the way, I just thought I'd mention that.
Am I?
You got a scary name and you're quite scary. All right, come on.
That's kind of.
I'm doing this right. So I go onto Play Store.
Okay.
Right, I'm doing this. I got on Play Store. Now what do I do?
I'm glad I'm scary because kind of if I wasn't, you probably just wouldn't.
Because you're in your secret bunker in a big Toblerone thing. Right. So what do I search for?
Sweat coin. So that's exactly right. So
Sweat coin. I got it. I got Sweat coin.
It's a free app.
I'm installing it now. I'm installing it.
You go through registration, and basically it you take steps. We track and verify it, and then we convert it into Sweat coins at the rate of 1,000 verified steps to 1 Sweat coin, and then you spend it on a marketplace with hundreds of our vendor partners, or you donate to charity, and you get things like health, sport, fitness.
I'm spending it. Just showing my true nature there, Ryan.
That is bloody genius, mate.
How did you? Wait, I'll tell you something. Between the two of you, you should be conquering the world. You and Ryan.
We are.
Convert your steps. I'm starting to talk like you, Oleg. This is worrying. Stop it, Russell. Convert your steps into a currency to spend on products. I see how you've made this into I understand the revenue stream now. Bloody clever. All right, this is good. This is great. Well, I'll fill it in late. I'm going to fill it in now. That'd be embarrassing.
I have, I have nothing wrong, kind of against charities, but it is a lot better when you're changing the world and you can make money out of it as well.
Yeah, sure. Because
then you become sustainable business. You can do it next year and the year after without being dependent on kind of charitable donations, which dry up.
It's a really important point to raise. Actually, it's
a good idea. This is.
It's not really an aside. It's important because some people think if they're doing altruistic things, it's wrong to take money for it, and it isn't. They're not mutually exclusive.
Absolutely.
What is not?
Making money and doing good things.
No, of course not. It's ridiculous. It's a nonsense.
I mean, if you can combine both and build a sustainable business, making the world a better place, you have a lot better chances of doing it for a very, very long time. Than
so it's kind of like. Don't shout at me. It's kind of like because Ryan's here and he looks quite beefy. I'll set him on you. It's kind of like having a Fitbit, but as you're using your Fitbit, instead of that, you're thinking, "Ooh, I've just made a few bob. That's good. I like that."
Yeah, no,
that's
absolutely.
my kind of incentive.
It's very subtle way of helping you to win this battle against nature. In fact, it sort of helps to flick the switch in the opposite direction, and your nature is telling you, hang on, every step is a gainful activity. You've got to take more steps every day. And this is why our users are walking 20% more after installing the app than before. It's just the subtle things that...
Oleg, is the app always on? So it's just on the whole
but
time?
You don't need to have it open. It works in the background and it tracks things without you having to sort of stare at the screen. Yes.
Now, the tinfoil hat wearing brigade will be saying, but this man living in his secret volcano bunker in the middle of a secret island, now knows where we are and where we're going and what we're doing. Is that right?
No, there is no GPS tracking. That's one thing.
Okay.
No, absolutely, absolutely not. Second thing is, yes, we do track quite a lot of data because we need to verify those steps. Because believe it or not, as soon as you start rewarding steps, people put phones on their dogs. People put phones on top of their
I'd be wasting my time with
dishwashers.
my dog. She's asleep 25 hours a day. Jesus.
Well, kind of get the second one.
Why would people do that? Why would
with
people
one.
deceive themselves like that?
Because they're
It's
making
not about-
money.
I mean, it's
Neil.
pretty funny putting it on your dog and conning the app. I can see the humor in
Yeah.
that, but what's the
Yeah.
point?
Well, the point is that it's rewards. If
They're
it
getting
is
stuff
if
for
it's a
nothing,
usual
that's why.
pedometer, then well, you're not going to deceive yourself, right? Because you know that your dog ran in the park. But
Yeah.
if you're earning something, if you can trick those guys into believing that it was me running in the park, then it seems like a good deal. So we actually been spending a lot of time on this verification model that allows us to know if it's a genuine movement or not. And while we track that data, we never ever sold it or passed it to a third party because
Good.
I mean, I don't believe that it is ours to pass on to anyone. That's first
No.
thing. But the second thing is that if you want to make the world more physically active, last thing that you want to do is upset people by doing stupid stuff with the
Exactly.
with the things that belong
By
to
mining their data, which is,
No. No, and
It always makes me
we're
laugh.
profitable. We're
It always
profitable
makes
even
me
without that.
laugh, Oleg, when people say, I'm not having an identity card, it'll have my information. I go, well, you're an idiot. Well, how much information do you think everybody's got on you? They've got everything on you, dummy.
Yeah.
It's not going to make any difference. You've got a little card. They've already got it. Forget it. That
Oh,
ship's
let me
sailed.
mention very important thing. We've just done the research literally this month because everyone knows this sort of gag that on the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd of January people go and get a gym membership, and then by now everyone sort of gives up and they
No, they go to
embarrassingly
the
kind of
coffee
thinking,
shop. No. I went to the gym. I had a coffee and I went on to work. That's what they normally. That's exactly what they do.
I went to the gym once, played the fruit machine, and left. And I'm not joking.
Doesn't show, Neil. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, thanks,
That's
bud.
why we did this research. And you know what happened? We realized that Britons spend extra, $4 billion are going to useless gym memberships
How
and
much?
unused gym equipment. $4 billion a year.
Most of that's around Neil's
150
house.
pounds. 150 pounds per person. So there is
Christ.
an awful lot of money that is wasted. And the reason why we kind of delved into it, because there is a running gag, as as we all know, but we didn't know how serious and how big the the problem is really, especially with the cost of living crisis. It seems like an incredible wasteful way of kind of dealing with your finances. And
you're right.
basically,
And it's really important to point out here that because some people think a million and a billion are quite similar. Just to give you the contrast, that they're really bloody not. If you were to count to a million one number per second, it would take you 9 days. If you were to count to a billion one number per second, it would take you, any guesses, anyone? 27 years.
Shit. Okay.
And a trillion.
Precisely.
And a trillion, any guesses, anyone?
It would. Oh God! It takes it's forever. It's like
27,000 years.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's the difference between a million and a billion and a trillion.
Yeah, people don't get that at all.
Well,
Ryan,
now
would you
they
get
do,
this? Would
as
you
heard on Men's
download
Radio.
this, Mr. Ryan Park?
I've already downloaded it, gents. Thank you.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi.
You got 3 new punters there, Oleg. It was worth coming on.
Excellent.
So,
even if this is just the only thing that we get out of this,
no, I think you get a bit more than that. Quite honestly, it's a fantastic idea.
Oh yeah.
Where are you guys based? Are you based in the UK, or is this coming out of? Where's this coming out of?
No, the business is based in London, and we have a second office where I'm right now in Lisbon.
Oh, nice.
So that's why there is kind of bright, shiny sun.
You have actual weather in Lisbon.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, nice weather, nice food, beautiful architecture. What the hell am I doing here? You're right. Yes.
Come over. I promise you'll have a great time and we'll enjoy it tremendously. And you'll take a lot of steps.
Oh yeah, a lot of walking.
Brilliant.
Oleg, thank you so much. I'm so pleased you came on. I think this is a fantastic idea.
It's all tied in very well because we're going to finish off with Ryan now and we do the rest of the acronym, and I think it all ties in very, very
It's
well.
beautiful.
Oleg, well, fascinating. I'm going to
Thank
use
you.
this. I'm not
Yeah,
going
I'm
to,
gonna
even if
use
I had
this.
a dog, I would not put it on my dog. It's going to be my work and my work alone.
Yeah.
Thank you,
too.
gentlemen. It's
Thank
been
you
absolute
very much.
pleasure
I
sitting
don't know how to say
here
cheerio
and having a banter
in
with you.
Portuguese, but thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's been great.
All the
Okay.
best, Oleg.
Bye.
Lovely to have met you.
Bye-bye.
Placebo. Bye-bye.
Terrific guy.
Really good.
Terrific
I got
guy.
the app. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it in the washing
Me
machine.
too.
Get my steps.
Put it in the washing.
Right, Ryan, I think we're definitely going to get you back on the show, but I'm just going to
Yeah,
quickly summarise where we got to so far for
Yeah.
those that have just tuned in. Suicide is the biggest cause of death for men aged 18 to 45, more than cancer. You wondered why. You did a lot of research. You found 45 to 60. Thereafter, it's cancer that's the biggest cause of death, mainly prostate. And all of this is linked to low testosterone. Having injections is not necessarily a good thing. It's the process of generating it, which is important. And the process is summed up by a brilliant acronym, which I do think is brilliant, because the whole alpha male thing, which has been really bastardized, this is alpha male done properly, or alpha male evolved, whichever you prefer. And the A stands for achievement and recognition. This makes serotonin in the brain, which is a hormone which makes you feel content, help is coming, I have everything I need. The L, this is where we got up to, looking after body, mind, sleep. And this blew my mind. Missing 1 hour sleep, you've aged 12 years, albeit temporarily.
God, I
Okay.
think I'm dead.
Any more to say on that before we go on to the P?
Yeah, sure. So I'll be really strategic, not tactical, not too much detail. So sleep, diet, exercise, vitamin D, which comes from the sun. When I saw that list of things that generates testosterone, I went, oh crap. Because at the time, I was working so hard to achieve recognition, just like Brad, that sleep, exercise, going outside, and having proper homemade meals were things I just didn't do. So I think
Me too. Guilty as charged. And you know what that led to? Burnout. Not fun.
Yep. So key things about looking after body and mind is get those 4 things in. It's also really important for guys, in the same way that when you have toothache, to reach out to your dentist, get help, but in the meantime, keep brushing your teeth. It's similar with mental health. If you're doing those things to look after yourself and you feel down, reach out, get some help, talk to the doctor, talk to the therapist, but don't stop doing the things for a healthy level of testosterone in the meantime, because the priority is waking up tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I say about looking after body and mind, I have coached a lot of guys that when their football team loses, they're not fun to be around.
God damn.
And it's very, very scientific why that happens, and it's very easy to fix. You probably don't have time on this call for me to do it. We could do it next time.
Well, the answer's easy. You support another team.
Yeah, you just support the best team.
There you go. God, I am good about mental health, aren't I? Just stop supporting Arsenal.
You got it, Russ.
Anyway, stop supporting Arsenal anyway.
I've done gigs in pubs as a DJ, and when the team loses, the atmosphere gets really edgy and unpleasant.
Yep.
And the other way is overly euphoric, and everyone's really pissed. And I'm guessing pissed isn't what.
I've never got that, and I thought, am I missing something here? Because I don't give a shit one way or the other. I don't. I can't buy into it. I've never bought into that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I've never understood it.
No, I haven't. It's just a game to me, but people are passionate about it.
Like
so leading on, then, I guess the
it.
P isn't getting pissed. I would hope.
It is actually. No, it's not.
Ooh, got you. He got you.
The P
Hooked you in, boy.
The P is protect the cave. So everyone has a need for security, but lots of men naturally have a need to provide it. We know that men with problem debt are 3 times more likely to take their own lives than men who do not have problem debt. And we know that men who live in the poorest areas are 10 times more likely to take their own lives than men who live in the wealthiest areas. And you can say, oh, that's because of conditioning, it's because resources aren't available. But when they move to other areas and when their financial status changes, they cease to be at risk of taking their own lives. It's not upbringing, it's the ability to provide. So in coaching...
hang on a minute. So we get back to the first one, acknowledgement and recognition as men, in part providing for others.
So achieving recognition is the things that you do to get recognition. Often it has to be from other people. When you do that, your serotonin goes up. Looking after body and mind is what you do to get your testosterone up. protecting the cave is what you have to do for your sense of security. When you're getting it right, you feel a sense of pride. Now, when men don't feel they're able to protect the cave, what I've found is you get a sense of overwhelm, not knowing where to start, and you feel a sense of shame. And there's an there's an amazing study. Everything I talk about on themenscoach.co.uk/science. I don't mind just skipping who the studies are because they're all on my website. But a few years ago, Bristol, the local authorities there realized they had such a big problem with male suicide. They said, we're open to suggestions. And, and an organization called Second Sense put on training for men who were depressed or suicidal. And it included financial skills and problem-solving skills. And 6 months after the end of the course, they were hoping for a reduction in depression scores. The reduction was 49%. I've never heard of an intervention. When I saw that, I thought I'd misread it because I've never seen an intervention that started with a 4 in terms of its results. And the reduction in suicidality was also 49%. So this is amazingly effective at taking men out of depression and reducing suicidal thoughts. And it's not what we recommend men to do. It's dealing with your problems. So a big part of what I do in workshops and coaching and in talks is we dive down into detail about some, I don't want to call them basic financial skills because we're never taught them, just some practical things that increase your ability to protect your cave. Another really key element of it is relationships. Intimate relationships are enormously important to men. And one of the main triggers of suicidality in men is a recent relationship breakdown. So in workshops, like wellness workshops, what we do is we look at the 3 different types of intimate relationships that you can have and how to balance them and get the best from all of them. And I've been talking to guys before on coaching calls, and we go through the 3 relationship types, and the guy will literally sit there and I'll say, what's up? And he'll say, I just realized I'm in a controlling relationship. I'm being bullied.
Wow.
Oh.
Because we don't think, we would assume that being controlled or coercive control is always men to women, but it can be the other way around. And violence.
Of course it can.
Yeah,
it can.
No, I know it can. I know. I'm just.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that to you. I'm just saying it that we have to acknowledge these things. Now, the vast majority, let's be clear, is men bullying women.
Yep.
The vast majority, and let's not.
And this would include the LGBTQ people as well.
Yeah, it includes everybody.
Yeah.
But men, but women can do the same to a much lesser degree. Let's be honest about it. But it's certainly not unheard of. Certainly not.
And it takes me back to that. We joke about it. You know, why men hate a woman giving directions in a car, and it all comes back to this sense of competence. Because one of the things, and it all makes complete sense what you said. A man gets his feelings of well-being from competence, from a sense of competence, whether it's something as small as getting directions or as big as running a family. You know, it's that sense of competence. But I'm also guessing it needs a big grounding and self-care, because you've got to be able to care for yourself before you can care for anyone else. You can't give from an empty cup, of course.
So that's looking after body and mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the H?
Okay. H is having adventures. Something really interesting happened a couple of years ago. So when I was 23, I started a finance company, a brokerage with my business.
At 23?
Yeah, it went really
well. On my bloody nerves. Getting on my nerves, this bloke.
I was there until I was like 28, I think. And then so one day I was with my team, and I remember I said, it's nearly Christmas. And anyone who's used all their holiday, feel free to go home now. Anyone who hasn't, just stay back and we'll buy the unused holiday off you. And all our female colleagues got up and said, good evening, gentlemen, and left. And it was just the guys left. None of us had used our holiday, including me. One guy had 14 days unused holiday. So that's nearly 3 weeks. And I've met guys in coaching who say, the last few years has flown by, and I say, how many days holiday did you take last year? So I'll tell you why that's a problem. To save energy, because our brain consumes an enormous amount of energy. Whenever you're doing something that you have the competency for, it switches on autopilot mode, stops writing memories. So what happens is, as you become more competent, as you age, life feels like it's getting faster and faster.
Doesn't it just? Ooh,
Yes.
When you're in a new environment or doing new things or with new people, your brain gives you a dose of dopamine. That dopamine,
Novelty.
yeah, novelty. That dopamine tells another part of your brain to raise levels of noradrenaline. And when there's noradrenaline in your system, your brain begins writing memories again. Now, when you're really stressed, like in a war zone or getting abused, there's so much noradrenaline in your system that you end up with memories you can't get rid of. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about having adventures. And so when I work with guys, really nice strategy here. When I work with guys and they're not taking their holidays, there's always the nuclear option, which is you take your diary, hand it to your partner or someone else you'd like to spend more time with, and you say to them, I have 10 days of holiday left to take. I've got 4 months left of the holiday year. I'd love to spend this time with you. And the problem is dealt with. And then
one year, I actually felt I was so busy, I forgot to take a holiday. And you're absolutely right. I was on autopilot. It was leading to burnout. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. All of it. All of this makes so much sense.
Right,
and you know, for me,
it's
5 years. It's
5
not
years.
Russ that the warning signs. Sorry,
I haven't been away for 5 years.
Exactly, and it's not for me like the warning signs weren't there. I was falling asleep in the day. My sleep was over the place. I was getting moody. I wasn't feeling.
And you were
fulfilled.
a bus driver. That was awkward.
No, I wasn't.
a pilot.
And, well, to continue your metaphor, I wasn't driving my bus particularly well. This all makes complete sense. I mean, we all need autopilot because we need to be able to generalize. Otherwise, we'd forget how to open the door every time we walked up to it, of course. But when it becomes this kind of, if you like, chronic autopilot, yes, you're right. We do need to write new memories. And it's really interesting you touch on memories on the dark side, if you like, that we can't get rid of. And it is worth saying that there are very advanced treatments now, things like havening that can reprogram that and help people through trauma. It's worth throwing that in at this point. I'm sure you've heard.
What are you doing there?
Havening.
Yes.
I'll explain it on the next show. We haven't got enough time.
Is that a holiday home with those mobile?
That's
homes?
Haven Holidays, you buffoon.
Oh, right.
Although you're not a million miles away because Haven means safe space. So.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've got 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Shall I tell you what my final thoughts are on Brad, and do a little bit of what happens next?
Okay, off you go.
A is where meaning comes from. It's able to serve. I'm often with guys and they say, it's really weird. I've got everything. I'm achieving recognition. I'm great at looking after my body and mind. I can protect my cave. You know, finances are all in order. Great relationship with my partner. Holidays every year, but it feels like there's something missing. And that's because there is. Able to serve is the things that we do for other people, using our skills for the betterment of others. And it comes
and using the skills, I will point out, that we enjoy using.
Yeah.
Not skills that we should have, skills that are really true to us and that we really enjoy.
And if you don't do that, you often find yourself asking, what is the point in my life? So, quick summary. Brad reached out for help. He was told, you've got to go to the doctors, you've got to go to the therapist, you need to talk, wait for 12 weeks till your therapy session. In the meantime, if you need to, have some SSRI antidepressants to temporarily raise the serotonin in your brain. No one told him he wasn't looking after no one told him he was skipping breakfast, skipping lunch, skipping exercise, skipping holidays to achieve recognition. He didn't look after his body and mind, so he became depressed. He couldn't protect his cave and tribe because he'd run up debts trying to achieve recognition, and he wasn't getting help with that. He wasn't having adventures. There was no dopamines. His life felt like it's getting faster and faster. He wasn't able to serve because he hadn't set aside any time to do that. And the advice he got from everyone was the same. You need to talk. He confided in his mum towards the end that because everyone told him talking was the solution, and on its own, it hadn't been a solution for him, he felt there was something wrong with him. And in my experience, when men believe they are the burden, the way that they protect the cave is get rid of themselves.
Yes, that is so horribly, horribly true. They thought they were a burden on other people, and other people think
and
their
thoughts
lives are
like
better
that are
because
classic
they've gone.
depression and not true. But when you're feeling that, it's very hard to not feel it. This all makes
Ryan Park,
so much
you
sense.
have been a phenomenal guest. Loved Oleg, by the way. Thought Oleg was uber cool, and you can see why.
I got the app.
I've got the app. I've got to do all that, and I'll have a Bentley Mulsanne probably by the end of next week.
So if people
through
would
my
like
app.
more details on who, I would make this required watching in every school, in every public forum. I really would. I see the X in the background. That's your TEDx talk, of course, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And
Yeah.
my call to action at the moment is, if you're an organisation that wants to champion men's mental health, I've just brought out this workshop called Tactical Wellness. It's real things that guys can do for better mental and physical health, and it works.
You and I are going to
Brilliant.
speak
So,
because
and it can be
we're
found on
going
the
to do
website.
some of this with Men's Radio with you guys. Absolutely, Ryan Park.
Yeah, I would have you as a regular guest teaching, and
Neil
we put
Long,
that up as a final call tonight in memory
Neil
of Brad.
Long,
And
our love to New Malden, the centre of media excitement. Bye, everybody. I'll be back on Friday.